Welcome back to the Roadside Rescue YouTube channel. I'm Ernest, and today we're going to do a day in the life of a mobile mechanic. So this is my work truck here, where I do roadside assistance, mobile mechanics, people with no starts, or typically we're a bit cheaper than a normal shop because of less overhead. So we're going to kind of go through a day, what a normal day is like as a mobile mechanic. I did one of these videos in the past, which was pretty popular, so I'm doing another one to kind of just get a different perspective on a new day. So we'll talk a little bit about how much everything's costing today, how much I'm making. Here's a look. It's going to be pretty unedited, real life. I'm a pretty honest guy. This is a look at, I've had a pretty busy week so far, and just to look at kind of how everything gets thrown around in the truck. Obviously, people who are OCD about their own tools may get upset that stuff just laying around, but it works for me. I know where everything is. Most stuff's still put up, but these are some of my more commonly used tools. And here's a quick little look at the inside of the truck where I keep tools, gloves, supplies, stuff like that. We're going to stop by the auto parts store this morning, grab a few things. I always make sure before I drive off that these toolboxes get locked, because these drawers will slide open, they can fall over. Push all these drawers closed. And we'll head off to the parts store now and grab a few supplies and parts that we need for today. And I anticipate probably one or two emergency calls to come through. We'll probably do one or both of those. And we've got a couple of other things scheduled. So may turn into a busy day. It's pretty typical on the slow days. If I want a day to be real slow by choice, like if I have classes, which I'm still in college out here, or anything like that, then I can pick and choose because this is my own business. So sometimes I'll refer people to other shops if I just can't take on any more jobs or don't have the time or don't want to. But this is going to be a full day, and we'll hit the road here and get going. All right, so I've been here for a minute at AutoZone. This is my favorite place to get stuff. And I just got an emergency call out actually for a no start in the north side of town. This other vehicle that I was gonna do is a fuel pump. I just picked up the fuel pump for it. And we're gonna postpone that one for about an hour, go do this emergency no start. I grab my breakfast at AutoZone. Sometimes I grab a Snickers if I'm hungry. So I'll snack on that in a little bit, and we'll run over here and see what's going on with this no start. I have no information on it. The guy said the battery's fine, it's not starting. I don't even know what kind of car it is. I don't even know if the battery is good. So we'll run over there and check it out. I just got the address, and we'll see if we can get it started or figured out. What year is this? 91. Okay. All right, so it's not getting fuel. I'll figure out why, but I just put a little bit of carb cleaner in there to see if it would hit, and it did. So I'm gonna look now, see if there's any sort of relays that aren't working or if it's the fuel pump or something. So, but it's narrowed down to fuel right now, so. All right, so this is a nice old Cadillac DeVille, 1991, so computers aren't helping me here. It is fuel injected, and I've just determined that it's a fuel issue. I couldn't hear the fuel pump go, so to go ahead and establish that, I just gave it a little bit of carb cleaner down inside the throttle body, and it kicked over, which it wasn't before I cranked it and there was nothing. So it kicked over with some carb cleaner, so I know it's getting spark. It just doesn't have fuel. I can't hear the fuel pump, so we're gonna start determining why that's not running, if it's burned out or if it's got a bad relay or something like that. So we'll supply some power to it and swap out some relays if we have to, or just straight up give it some power and see if we can get that to turn on. I've unhooked one of the fuel return lines up there, so I'm going to prime it a few times and see if we get anything coming out of that return line to indicate that that fuel pump's doing any sort of work. Yeah, I can hear that dash coming on. It almost sounds like a fuel pump. All those electronics aren't kind of humming when they turn on, but nothing from the fuel pump. And just crank it over a few times just to be sure. But I don't hear that fuel pump, so we're going to go ahead and swap out a relay up there, or figure out what kind of wiring that has and get it figured out. Okay, no fuel here. That's what I expected. Let's see here. All right, so I just tested the horn relay. It's right up above the fuel pump relay here. The horn works, so I know that relay's good. And I'm just gonna go ahead and switch these two relays right here. It's just hard to see because for some reason they tucked it way up underneath the dash here, but that's okay. All right, let me put this one in the horn spot. You can see any of that. This is the relay for the fuel pump. I'm gonna put it in the horn spot. And if the horn works, then this relay's fine. And we'll supply power to that pump and see if it kicks over or not. Okay, in theory the horn should work now if that relay's fine. And it does, so most likely a fuel pump issue. All right, so I've got my toolboxes locked up. I actually went ahead and just gave some power to that relay. No fuel pump kicking on, no fuel pressure. I pulled that line again. So it's most likely the fuel pump. I talked to him about it. I'm gonna have to do some research, but to do a diagnosing of the wires is gonna be the same amount of labor as getting down to that fuel pump. So we're gonna plan on coming back with a fuel pump and doing that all at once. That way we save him the extra labor and call out fee and everything. So that's a job well done, a diagnosis well done. It's most likely the fuel pump, and I'd be very surprised if something went awry in that wiring. He lets it sit around, every day except for maybe 1 or 2 days out of the year under cover, so not, unlikely that just, there could have been a squirrel that got up under there and shoot some wires as well, but again, I'm gonna have to pull the tank and everything to look at that, and it's gonna be the same amount of labor. So we're gonna come back with a fuel pump later. That's a diagnosis well done. We're gonna head over to this other one, which is a fuel pump, and we'll replace this fuel pump this morning, and we've got a few more jobs after that, so we'll get going. All right, here we are. Here's the vehicle in question. It's a Dodge something. Some people can probably tell by looking at it. I don't remember. I did the diagnosis on this vehicle like months ago, and I was just assuming, I'm like, I guess she got it fixed somewhere else. But called me up the other day and was like, hey, do you still have time to fix that vehicle? So I was like, sure, of course. So I've got the fuel pump here, and we've got the vehicle out there. I don't even remember if that fuel pump's accessible under the seat or through the trunk. I just don't remember. So we may be dropping the fuel tank. I know the fuel tank is empty. I know she hasn't driven it since then because there's no way it would run. It's still parked in the same spot and it's all dusty. And I asked her, because I always ask if the fuel tank is empty. She said it's pretty much empty, which it's more common for a fuel tank to be empty than full, I've found. So that's good. We've got an empty tank, and I may push it off that curb just a bit. That tank's probably right there where that tire is, and you can see the curb. It's going to be tough to land there, but I should be able to pop it in neutral, scoot it forward just a bit, jack it up real high, get it all safe, and if I need to drop that tank, we'll do it. Here we go. Oh, also, it's fun to drive a big old mail truck like this, because everybody, like FedEx, UPS, anybody else who drives a mail delivery truck, they all wave to each other, so that's kind of fun. Every time I see somebody pass, we always wave. So a little bit off topic. That was just a funny little thing that occurred to me since I passed two of them on the way here. Yeah, this battery was dead months ago when I tested it, so she's probably going to need a new battery after this. I doubt it's going to stay dead that long and be okay. All right, got that pushed out away from the curb. I've got the big truck parked beside it, so it's nice and protected, but this is a pretty calm little parking lot over here. I know it's calm because my brother used to live in these apartments, but you can see just how long this has been sitting if you can see all that dust on the windshields. I'm gonna look it up real quick, see how to replace this fuel pump. I think I might have to drop the tank, but I think I remember looking under the seat and thinking there wasn't an access there, but I didn't check the trunk. So I'll look it up, I'll let you know, and we'll get started. I installed some pretty cool lights on this truck a while back. If I'm working on the side of the street, which I could have done in that other neighborhood. That was a really quiet neighborhood though, but you can see the strobes there, they flash on each side. It's kind of warning people that I'm here, but I'm not going to do that in the parking lot. This is I'm parked in a reserved spot for somebody else. There's a not reserved spot opened up over there, so hopefully they don't have an issue with it. That's kind of the deal though, was working in residential areas and stuff. Sometimes people get upset, but I'm more than happy to move out of people's way. But I've only ever had one person really get upset and be like, get out of my driveway or whatever. Most people are understanding and they're like, yeah, sure, no worries, I'll park down the block or whatever, and they just let me work and do my thing. So people are nice out here at least, and I never really have an issue with that. I'll look that up though. I still haven't looked it up. I'll let you know. We'll again get started right now. I did forget to grab a fuel pump removal kit, so I may have to run across town and grab one of those. I was sitting in there for a minute trying to remember what I was forgetting because I felt like I was forgetting something. But sometimes those will come off without it. No guarantees though, so if I'm not going to break anything, if I have a little bit of issues, then I'll run grab that. All right, so I've got that jacked up pretty good. I've got a jack stand on this side holding it up, one under there for safety. Same deal on the other side, but with the jack just under there, barely touching for safety, just in case those jack stands do anything weird. But I've been using these ones a while. They're pretty good, especially on this light vehicle. I don't expect anything. So we'll get that fuel tank dropped, fill her neck, stuff like that. And one of the reasons I love AutoZone, I buy almost everything there. You'll know that if you've seen my channel. Hey AutoZone, if you want to sponsor me, we'll work out a deal. But I'm out here and I forgot to pick up a fuel pump removal kit. I have a lot of tool kits, but that's one of the ones I've yet to acquire. And I just remembered, I was like, dang it, I forgot that. So I called up my buddies at AutoZone over there, and they're gonna go ahead and just deliver it to me out here. Since I don't have a shop by mobile, they'll deliver parts to shops on their parts runs. And I just told them, hey, look, I'm over here at this apartment place, and they're gonna bring that by for me. So tool delivery at the job site, and I hardly ever do that. But in this case, while I'm doing that, they don't mind at all to bring it over here. So thanks again, AutoZone. And we'll get that tank going now. We've got it jacked up. Here's the fuel pump, and it should be smooth as ice now. All right, I'm on my creeper here. We're gonna go ahead and slide under the vehicle, and yeah, that tank's empty. We'll slide under here. Oh wow, middle filler neck. That's interesting. See what needs to be removed. Looks like just a few straps. I'll probably, you can see what I'm talking about here. I'm laying under here. I'll probably drop the tank down from the nose end out, but I'll probably just drop the whole tank out to help remove that. It's going to be easiest. And it looks like there's quite a bit of room actually under here because I jacked it up enough, but also to reach around the sides and loosen everything, particularly the filler neck and that vent line right there. But we'll go ahead and get going. Oh man, it's starting to feel nice once that sun's come out, which it has just. I think the high today is like 60 something, so it's going to be a very nice day. Normally I would put a jack on here to catch the tank, but it feels really light. Before I drop that all the way, I'm going to remove that filler neck so I don't yank on it. It is metal. It's not rusty, but if it were, then it could bend, so I don't want to do that. There goes the special delivery car. Just dropped off my fuel pump removal kit. It's been about 5 minutes since I called, so great customer service, AutoZone. All right, so I just dropped it down, but I'm holding it up with this hand so I don't put too much tension on those lines there, fuel return and evap and everything. So I'm going to disconnect those lines and then I'll be able to drop it down all the way without pulling on those. We'll slide it out and get that fuel pump replaced. All right, my neck's killing me from holding my head up, but I got those fuel lines disconnected. I've just got to disconnect the electrical connectors here, and it's ready to slide out from under the vehicle. Let's see, let's push that out. All right, it's free. Ish. Caught up on one more line. Oh, it's just caught up here. All right, we're free. That's why it's good to check things as you're pulling them out as well. Whew. That's it. There's the fuel pump here. We'll go ahead and get this one out. I'm going to disconnect a few of these lines that are being held on still. I'm going to need to dust off really well after this job, because I'm nice and dusty from rolling around on that ground. All right, that's all out of the way. We'll clean this off, and if you can see that, we'll clean that off because it's nice and dusty, and get this ready to go back together. All right, I'm going to use this Super Clean. This is a new spray bottle they have on there. Typically they just have it in a squirt bottle. You can get this at AutoZone or wherever, but this should clean this up pretty nicely. And I like this because it's going to foam up and trap all that dirt that you see in there. The most important area to clean is the outside here, where when you pull that fuel pump out, dirt can fall in. So just make sure you get all the little nooks and crannies there. You want to keep this fuel tank clean. Okay, I'm going to pop this ring loose and then I'll finish cleaning up around that ring. And I like this removal kit, because some of them have those plastic rings. You need this. That's what I thought was going to be under there. So in this case, I didn't actually need them to deliver this kit. Only I have a punch and a rubber mallet, so that's all you need to get this kind out. All right, and you can see I kind of deflected some of those tabs there, so I'll make sure to bend those back before I install it. And before we knock that seal loose again, I'm going to go ahead and just get all that dirt that was under that ring cleaned up. All right, I've got the new fuel pump here. I like to move quickly in this process to keep stuff out of that fuel tank. I got it all cleaned up. Well, but again, we're parked under trees here, and dirt can fall in there. So I'm going to go quickly and just reinstall this new fuel pump. All right, we got the nice new fuel pump here with a good warranty. So I'll knock that off there. Get the new gasket. And we'll go put this back in real fast. Okay, so it's spring loaded. Just make sure it's centered there. The tab goes right here. It fits perfectly between this one. Just remember where it came out from, which direction. And you can always line up your fuel lines if you don't remember. And we'll get this ring bent back out here. Like so. All right, now we'll get this going back in. All right, so I gave it one tap. Just make sure all these little tabs are starting at the same time. And all we've got to do now is tap that around. And it's going to be a bit more difficult because the gasket under there is new, so it's nice and thick. Which is where that silicone helps a bit, just to lubricate things, get them spinning around a bit easier. But there you can see it's going. Just be careful not to punch through the plastic fuel tank. And there it is. It's all tight. And it's ready to go back together. Okay, so we'll pull these little caps off. We've got to switch over. Retaining clips here. That one. This one. Fuel pumps are my favorite thing to do, but this one's gone smoothly at least. All right, we can move that out of the way. There's that old pump, and we can put this back together. Here we go. All right, I've been wrestling with this fuel tank for a minute, just got it up. I'm gonna bolt everything down. I'm gonna wait on this bracket because I need to put that charcoal canister or whatever part that is to that underneath that bolt as well, but up here. See. It's good. I'll tighten all those down by hand afterwards. All right. put that bracket on there, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. All right, I've got all these bracket bolts tightened by hand. That one's got its little thing up there with it, and I've got to tighten up the hose clamp on that filler neck. You want to make sure you put it right back on exactly how it came off so you don't get evap leaks, and we'll be done. All right, that filler neck clamp's tightened on there. Everything's good to go. We're gonna drop this down, get everything out of the way. There's just 2 more tools under here. That's all we needed to do this fuel tank. That's pretty nice. And yeah, we'll put it back down. Just let her down slowly. We got her jacked up so high on that other side, I don't want to drop it off those jack stands. All right, that'll do it. Pack them up. All right, that's a job well done. I'll show you the clip of it running here real quick. All right, there it is, having a little bit of flickering on that dash light there, but I'm suspecting it's probably got a few little issues going on since that battery was dead for so long. So I'm gonna let this run, kind of warm up, and I doubt that battery's gonna hold any charge, but we'll see what it does. All right, there she is, nice and running. That's a job well done. We've got a couple more calls for today, and it's getting in the afternoon, it's getting kind of warm. So the nice thing about having a truck like this is there's a bit of privacy in the back. I'm gonna go take off my, I've got some sweats and a thermal top here underneath it. So underneath my suit. People often ask why I wear this red one. That's probably going to be one of those common comments down below, is like why I look like a prisoner. It's just higher visibility. I didn't get an orange one, but I didn't want to wear black or blue working on the side of the road. So I got this red one instead, plus it matches the color of my logo, which was one of the main deciding factors. But we'll head on to the next job, and I'm going to get out of these clothes real quick. All right, so I just got home. I'm going to eat some lunch. Let me see what time it is. It's about 12 o'clock, so I've been out working about 3 hours so far. I got those 2 jobs done. There's a job that I had, there's 2 more jobs I had scheduled for this afternoon close together, about 25 minutes away from here. And one of them had to cancel, the other wasn't urgent, and the person was understanding, so we're gonna plan on doing those a different day. And I had another call come through to do, it's not really an emergency, but it's a fellow whose Suburban I've worked on before. His door handle's broken, which is common on those old Suburbans, and we're going to replace his door handle. So that's the rest of what we have lined up today, is that door handle. And then I've got a class that's technically today, but it's recorded so I can watch it whenever. But I'll probably log in to be on that class since I'm going to be here the majority this afternoon, which I thought I wasn't going to be. So I'm going to grab some lunch, and then we'll head out and do that door handle. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and return that fuel pump replacement kit, since I'm just gonna order my own later, probably on Amazon. And then typically what I would do is I got paid in cash both times today, which isn't typical. I normally get paid on Venmo, but I would deposit the money, but it's a banking holiday, so I'm gonna hold on to that for today. And then I'm gonna go get some windshield wiper fluid, because I like to use a lot of that in my vehicles, and they're all out, so my wife's and mine, because I used it all. So I'm gonna get that when I return that fuel pump replacement kit. As for how much I've made today, the first diagnosis was $80 to do that diagnosis. The second job was about $350, and that was beating any other shop's price, close around by about $100. So we got a good part in there. It's got warranty, which is why I buy most of my parts at AutoZone. And this last job is just going to be simple. It's a neighbor, basically. He lives in my neighborhood, and I met him doing mobile mechanics. I've worked on his car a few times, so I'm going to charge him probably $50 or $60 to replace that, just because I've worked for him a few times. for sure I'd charge somebody like at least 60 to do a job like that, maybe up to 100 depending on how long it takes. But it's just a door handle, so it'd probably be pretty fast. It'd probably end up being about a $60 job regardless. And it's not atypical to have a day like today where things get rescheduled and moved around. I'd say probably 2 or 3 days out of the week something like that happens where it just works out better to reschedule for a different day. So no harm, no foul. We're just going to do those a different day. And then I get to hang out with my family a bit more. I've got 2 small kids. One just 3 months old. And you probably saw them in the little time lapse. I organized the truck a little bit after lunch. And it's probably about 1 o'clock now. And I'm just going to run. I can grab some windshield wiper fluid, return that toolkit, and maybe grab a few more supplies. I'm out of like silicone spray, probably a few little things like that. I'll grab while I'm at AutoZone. And I live pretty close to AutoZone, so we're actually already here. And this transmission doesn't sound too hot in this truck. It's always had a hard time going into first gear, so I thought it was a synchro, but kind of sounds a little wanky. Good, how are you? Good. I'll find it. Thank you, though. Hey, Wyatt. I don't know how in my head I'm like, I'm going to AutoZone to return something, and I always leave it in the car, like every time. Like that was the reason I came. I know, every time. About due for a tune-up on this CRV that I've kind of rebuilt for my wife. It was in a crash. If you haven't seen those videos, check them out. Just probably click on the channel. There may be one on the side there. Dropped off a package at the UPS store. I ordered some car parts online. This one in particular wasn't needed. I actually had a pretty difficult time getting it back to the company. But that's it. I think that's the last errand I have to run. And now we'll head back and do that door handle, and then I think we'll be done for the day. I pretty much missed my class at this point. Well, maybe just about now it's probably 2, but I don't know if I'll actually log on or just watch it later in the evening after my kids are asleep, which is what I usually do. All right, so I had just a few errands. Oh, by the way, I have merchandise. Check it out down below if you want to support the channel, or check out becoming a channel member. There's a link in the top of the description of the little join button next to the subscribe button, and that'd be greatly appreciated. I just had a few errands to do. Again, I was going to go to the bank, but there's a banking holiday, so that's closed. And there was like one other thing I was going to do, but just didn't work out for today. Regardless, we've got the last thing to do for today, and this is more like a typical day where I'm at home for an hour or two, and then out again for a couple hours in the afternoon, and then I'm home in the evening and I get to spend time with my family. So the good thing about being, my own boss, I can set my schedule to whatever. So if there's a day I just really don't want to work, or I want to spend a week with my family, I can take off a whole week if I wanted to. Some people have emergencies, and in that case, maybe I'll charge a little bit extra to go out and do an emergency call, or just refer them to somebody else. But we're gonna go over and do that door handle and call it a day. I'll probably just hang out with my kid. I've got 2, but one of them is actually old enough to play with for the rest of the afternoon. This should be a quick 30-minute job. Here we go. All right, here we are, ready to replace this door handle. And that key must have fallen. And this is one of those circumstances where it's kind of hard to know exactly where I need to park. Or not need to, but probably figure out the best place to park. And I actually just ended up parking on the corner, kind of where you're not supposed to. So I have my flashing lights on, but the street behind me is quite busy. So that's why I chose to park on this street instead. It's less busy, but a little bit more where I'm not supposed to be. But we'll see what happens. Yeah, this guy really likes Suburbans. Guess he's got a new one now. This is the one I've worked on the most. Here. Yeah, this is the one that needs a new handle. Okay, I'm just gonna pull in behind this one then. And just park on the side of the street. That's a bit busier, but I can park with my door side over here and not have to be out in the street too much. And here we are here. I wonder if the key's in here. Or if I can pop this in neutral real fast and scoot it back so it's not opening up in that fence. It's probably fine. I got enough room there. So first thing I'll do is just look at this, see exactly what needs to be done. I replaced one of these like 10 years ago on my mom's Suburban, or I helped, or I'm completely wrong and I didn't. But I feel like I did do this, but maybe my mom did it. Anyways, this is exactly what hers was like. That handle gets all loose. And I think all I have to do then is just pop this cover off. So it's actually pretty simple. Okay, here we are. I've got my caution lights on. And let me grab my trim tool here. So if you just slide in between here, where those clips are at, that opens that up enough for that to come off. So you can see what kind of clips there are. You got to get something down in between them here. Push down. No, that whole panel is going to have to come off, but it's not that big of a deal. Should be just a few screws holding it in, like a couple of 6 or 7 millimeters there, and a few plastic pieces. There's one, probably a screw under here. Nope, that's a clip. And some screws down there. All right, I'll let you know how it goes. There's those 2 screws. And let's check the bottom if there's any screws. If not, then there's going to be some clips that we just got to yank on. Okay, so there's no screws down here. Check inside there. In this case, there's a lot of those body clips holding the door on. We just got to get behind them. There's that last clip. Get that door handle out of the way. Should be able to pull up on this. And there's that. Those wires from this control panel are going to hold this in. But all we need to do is just get enough room back here to reach our door handle. And that's it. And that slides forward. You can see that. All you got to do is slide the handle forward. Pull it out. Let me give you a better look there. I'll show you as well when it goes in, but basically these all just have little retaining hooks and it slides like that. So there, out. 2 little bars for the door lock and for the lock and the handle. And we'll just pop those out, pop the new ones in, and it's good to go. Just want to make sure that all those hooks go in. That's in, everything's connected. It's grabbing, this handle's metal, but there's a little plastic piece connecting the two. That's what breaks. I'll show you a better look at that old handle here in a second, but all I've got to do now is smack this old door handle back on and put those 2 screws from right here in, and we're done. And that's what I call a nice little service call out, which isn't an emergency, it's just a call out to come fix your car, which is one of the most commonly asked questions, how much I charge for one of these. $40 to $60 typically, and I don't travel that far anymore. I've had this business for about 2 years. I'll tell you in the truck. Let's hop up in there and I'll tell you how everything goes here. All right, so here's what happens. I guess it's not even plastic. The piece right here is pretty weak. This is where it breaks. Again, I know it's a super common issue. Back in the day when we fixed my mom's Suburban a few times with the same issue, it was such a common problem that they had these in stock all the time at the auto parts stores, just on the shelf. So that's it. Another job well done. I'm Ernest. Thanks for watching. This is a day in the life of a mobile mechanic. Hope you enjoyed. Check out other videos on the channel. Consider becoming a channel member. And we'll see you on the next episode. All right, so before we drive off here, just a quick rundown of kind of how I got into this. I've had this business for about 2 years. I have a pretty good customer base now. I try and stay around the area. I used to travel a lot farther than I do. Now I just try and stick around town because I can keep myself busy around town. It took about a year to get to that point. The best thing for growing my business was Google Ads and just paying for them because they're expensive, but they really helped. And then just being nice to people, treating them right, and they spread the word quickly. Today I made probably around $450, $500, maybe about $450 if my math is right. And that's pretty typical for what I'll make in a full day, up to $1,000 sometimes, depends on the day, maybe more, but $500 is pretty good. $200 is like my goal for the days, so if I'm making about $200 a day throughout the week, then I'll try and just take it easy a few days and spend some more time with the family. I made a lot of videos. If this interests you, check out some videos on my channel about what you should know before you become a mobile mechanic. And among the topic like that, there's a few videos. Turn off my caution lights here. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any additional questions. I'll try and answer everybody. If this video goes big like the last one did, I probably won't be able to answer every comment. Thank you all for the support and for watching. Consider supporting the channel. And let me know if you have any questions or any suggestions or video ideas in the comments down below, things that you want to see. And we'll see you on the next episode.